That six-wheeled Dodge in the thumbnail is real. Chrysler built it, put it on a stand in Las Vegas, and let people walk around it. 10 cylinders, around 500 horsepower, more than the Dodge Viper had that year. And the last confirmed sighting of it was in a car park in Ohio in 2006. After that, nothing. That is the pattern here. Every vehicle on this list was built, and most were shown exactly once. One burned on a Texas highway before it reached its second show. One spent 26 years lost. One sat in a driveway for 50 years while its owners called it by the wrong name. We come back to the Dodge at the end. This starts in 1965, in a workshop in North Hollywood. The 1966 Ford Bronco Dune Duster. Ford had just launched the Bronco and needed something for the turntable. The company designed a show truck in Dearborn and sent the work to a man named George Barris. If that name means something to you, it should. Barris built the Batmobile. What came back was gold, a color Ford called Golden Saddle Pearl, and raw roll bar with the headrests built into it, a chopped windshield, chrome exhaust outside the body, knockoff hubs, a walnut steering wheel. Underneath it all, an ordinary six-cylinder Bronco. It went on the stand at the Detroit Auto Show on the 27th of November, 1965. And then Ford did something strange with it. In 1970, the same truck came back, repainted in psychedelic blues, yellows and reds, with a pink grille and floral vinyl seats. Ford called it the Bronco Wildflower and presented it as a new show vehicle. Read the two press releases side by side, and the feature list is identical. Same roll bar, same knockoff hubs, same walnut steering wheel, the same truck, chasing a different decade. After the 1971 season, it disappeared, and nobody knows where it went. The 1967 Chevrolet Baja Boot. This one was not built for a turntable. It was built to survive Mexico. A General Motors research engineer named Vic Hickey put it together in his own workshop, with Al Knapp and Drino Miller, in 30 days. A V8 behind the driver, a steel tube frame, tires Goodyear made for it. Two were built. Both were bought by Solar Plastics, a company that belonged to Steve McQueen. McQueen raced one. So did James Garner. Both survive, and one sold at auction for $220,000. But the part that stays with you is the builder. Hickey went on to lead the General Motors group that built the lunar roving vehicle, the car that drove on the moon, and in 1979 he designed the Humvee, the same hands, in the space of 12 years. The next one you cannot photograph. Not because it was destroyed, because nobody outside General Motors was ever allowed to see it. Before we get to it, Odd Autofiles brings one forgotten American vehicle out of the archives every week. Subscribe. It costs you nothing, and it keeps this going. The 1968 Chevrolet Blazer that never existed. In the mid-60s, Chevrolet's truck studio designed a proper compact four-wheel drive, Bronco-sized, on a 97-inch wheelbase, on a platform of its own. Prototypes were built. Tooling was finished. The designer, Harry Bentley Bradley, later said it was this close to sitting in showrooms in 1968. Then the finance department decided the market was full. International, Jeep, and now Ford. Not enough buyers to go round. So it died. And when Chevrolet needed an answer in 1969, it shortened to pickup instead. That is the K5 Blazer. A good truck, but a workaround. The prototypes were never shown and have never been found. And here is the thing about Harry Bentley Bradley. He designed the Dodge Diora. Then he left General Motors, went to a toy company called Mattel, and drew the original Hot Wheels. The man who put the first Hot Wheels car in your hand also drew a Blazer that accountants killed. The 1969 Ford Boss Bronco. Ford's president that year was Seaman Knudsen, known to everyone as Bunky. Somebody wanted to sell him on a performance Bronco, so Ford's racing shop, Car Craft, built one with Bill Stroppy. A 351 Windsor, blueprinted to Shelby GT350 specification. Yellow with black stripes. It never reached an auto show. The only period photographs were taken outside Ford's styling building, because in September of 1969, Lee Iacocca fired Bunky Knudsen. The project lost the only man who wanted it, and Car Craft was wound up the following year. The Boss Bronco was marked unsaleable and sent to be crushed. It survived because of a billing dispute. Car Craft and Ford were arguing over money, and in the confusion, the truck went out of the door instead. The decals were peeled off, and it was sold to an employee. For the next 5 decades, its owners called it the Bumblebee Bronco. A yellow Bronco with black stripes. Nobody knew. It was found in 2018 when an author researching a book on Car Craft took a serial number off a 1969 inventory sheet, chased it through motor vehicle records, and matched it to an expired listing on eBay. 49 years. The 1969 Jeep XJ001. Jeep's engineering team in Toledo built this one by hand, styled by the division's chief, Jim Anger. A standard CJ5 chassis with an 81-inch wheelbase, around 8 inches shorter than a Mazda Miata. Over it, a one-piece fiberglass body. The windshield frame thickened so it worked as a roll bar, the sides scooped out with no doors at all, and in the nose, where a 4-cylinder was supposed to sit, an American Motors 360 V8. It went on the stand at the New York Auto Show in April of 1970. By then, American Motors had bought Kaiser Jeep and had no interest in a fiberglass Jeep sports car. That autumn, it was sent to the Texas State Fair. The transporter rolled over on the way. The vehicle caught fire and burned. Total loss. There is one of these in the world and it does not exist. Every image you will ever see was taken in the few months it was alive. Halfway. So which is worse? The one that burned before its second show, or the one nobody was allowed to see at all? Write burned or hidden in the comments. The 1970 Jeep Bolide XJ002. The president of Kaiser Jeep, John Cady, wanted a second one. This time the work went outside, to a Michigan shop called Centaur, the skunk works of a chemical company, of all things. Dan Deaver designed and built it on a 1969 Jeepster Commando, V6, 4-wheel drive, marigold yellow, fiberglass body. It appeared at the New York Auto Show in 1970, at stand 309B. Jeep's own stand was 109. The company put its own concept car on the other side of the hall. That tells you what happened next. American Motors decided it was too much, killed it on the spot, and, this is the part that gets me, refused to take the car back when the show ended. So Dan Deaver drove it, for about 2 years, as a personal vehicle. After that, it changed hands at least 9 times across 5 states, and went quiet. In 1996, it turned up in West Virginia, with 9,049 original miles on the clock. 26 years, and the odometer barely moved. The Ferrari. Bill Harrah built the Harrah's casinos. He wanted a Ferrari with 4-wheel drive, and he asked. Enzo Ferrari personally refused. So in 1969, Harrah took a Jeep Grand Wagoneer, pulled out the American Motors 360, and dropped in the 4.4-liter V12 and gearbox from a Ferrari 365 GT. Then he grafted the Ferrari's entire front end onto the Jeep. The motoring press called it a crime against nature. There is a second one, from 1977, and here is the part most people get wrong. Harrah did not find a second engine. He took the V12 straight out of the first car and moved it into the new one. The 77 is the quiet one. Lengthened front sheet metal to clear the V12, headlight wipers, custom badges, 4 Ferrari exhaust tips at the back. From 20 feet away, it is a Jeep Wagoneer, and it is on display today at the National Automobile Museum in Reno, where most visitors walk straight past it. The 69 car was left with a hole where the Ferrari engine used to be. Somebody eventually filled it with a Chevrolet 350. The International Scout SSV, the 1981 Scout that never arrived. International Harvester was running out of time and knew it. In 1975, the company hired Dr. Leo Windecker, a former dentist who had built the first all-composite aircraft ever certified by the Federal Aviation Administration. The following year, he brought International 6 bodies. The one they chose became the SSV, a Scout in fiberglass and epoxy resin, a Scout that could not rust, which, if you owned an American vehicle in the 70s, you will understand immediately. The first bodies reached the Fort Wayne plant in 1977. By October of '78, it was a hatchback coupe on the standard 100-inch wheelbase. Around 30 were built, 4 fed into crash testing. This was going to be the 1981 Scout. There was no 1981 Scout. In May of 1980, International put the division up for sale, and the last one came off the line on the 21st of October. And here is what the company did on the way out. It refused to sell the composite bodies and had them destroyed, deliberately, so that not one of them would reach the outside world. 2 complete SSVs survive today. 2 out of roughly 30. The Ford Bronco Montana Lobo, built in 1980 for the following year's show circuit by Ford's Advanced Design Center with Ghia in Turin, on a pre-1977 Bronco frame. The doors were tinted bubbles that lifted off, and if you did not want the bubbles, they swapped for webbing, like the door of a helicopter. There was a plexiglass T-roof, an electric winch buried inside the front bumper, and a tailgate that unfolded into a 3-piece loading ramp. Then you sat down, and the seats blew warm air at you when it was cold, and cool air when it was hot. Each seat had its own blower, climate-controlled seats. In 1981, Saab is usually credited with putting ventilated seats into production, and that was 1997, 16 years later. What happened to it afterwards is not recorded anywhere. No museum lists it. No collector has claimed it. It is simply gone. And that brings us back to the Dodge. The 1997 Dodge Ram T-Rex 6x6. Work started in August of 1995. Chrysler's engineers took a factory-standard Ram 3500, 1-ton, regular cab, and gave it a third axle. Not dual rear wheels. 2 separate single axles at the back, one behind the other, which kept the truck narrower than a dually. 2 transfer cases, computer-controlled air suspension. The engine was the 8-liter Magnum V10, heavily reworked. The published figure is 497 horsepower and 593 pound-feet, and Chrysler's own announcement rounded it to 500. The Dodge Viper of that year made less. Bob Lutz, then running Chrysler, said it would outrun, out-tow, outmaneuver, out-haul, and out-off-road anything in its class. The name stood for Technology Research Experimental. It went on the stand at SEMA in 1997 and was never seriously considered for production. And then it went quiet. The last photograph anybody can point to was taken in 2006 on a community college campus in Dayton, Ohio. People assume it is in a warehouse somewhere. Nobody has produced it. 10 vehicles, all of them real. 3 burned, crushed, or deliberately destroyed. 3 are missing. 4 survive, and 2 of those only because somebody made a mistake or refused to take a car back. That is what a concept vehicle actually is, not a promise about the future. A thing a company built, showed for a week, and then had no plan for. Everything here came from documented sources, on screen as we go, with the full list in the description. So tell me 2 things. Did you ever see any of these in the metal when they were new? And which one would you want found tomorrow, under a sheet in a barn? Tell me in the comments. Half the vehicles on this channel came out of somebody's answer. One forgotten American vehicle out of the archives every week. If you want the next one, you know what to do.